between the thriving city where people live, trees, and between one of the most harshest deserts in the world, the Judean desert, that ends up in the Syrian-African Rift and at the Dead Sea. Did you just see that? Okay, this is what's called a rain shadows mountain. All the precipitation takes place to the west of here towards the Mediterranean Sea, and once the clouds come onto the side of the desert, they just basically dissipate, and there's no rainfall in the desert. And this is a very clear view of life and death. Over here on the left-hand side is Augusta Victoria, one of the churches built by Kaiser Wilhelm II at the end of the 20th century. Sorry, end of the 19th century. And King David unites the nation of Israel by forming a new capital for the 12 tribes. And that is the city of Jerusalem, mentioned 667 times in the Bible, being the capital of Israel, the homeland for the residents of God's name. And it is not recognized by the rest of the world as the capital of the Jewish state. And everyone believes in the Bible. They swear by the Bible, yet they still don't recognize that to be the capital of the Jewish state. We are on the Mountain of Olives. The Mountain of Olives is on the east of the West Bank. It is what was once Jordan, predominantly habitated by Arabs, the majority of course being Muslim, minority being Christian, and they live here side by side on the Mountain of Olives. Yet the Mountain of Olives is crucial for Jewish theology and for Christian theology, even more than Jewish theology, and because Muslim came after Jews and Christians, they also adopted it as a very important symbol in their theology too. We're standing on the mountain and we're overlooking Jerusalem. And Israel is a very, very small country. From the north to the south of Israel, it's only 520 kilometers. That is something like 320 miles, more or less. And from east to west, it's 150 kilometers, which is more or less like 115 miles at the widest point. In the narrowest point, which is from the West Bank into Netanya, which is that sitting next to the north arrow, it's only something like 7 miles wide. So Israel is a tiny country. Those that live in Pennsylvania, I think that Israel is the size of the state of Pennsylvania. It's New Jersey, sorry. It's the size of New Jersey. New Jersey is smaller than Pennsylvania, right? Yes. It's the size of the state of New Jersey. For those of you that have been to England, Israel is the size of Wales. It's a tiny, tiny country. Yet nevertheless, you can spend your whole lives and you will always learn something new about this country every day. It's tiny. Yet everywhere you walk, if you turn to the right or to the left and you pick up a stone, you might find something from many, many years ago. So where does this all begin? It all begins in the story of Genesis, where God tells a man by the name of Abraham to leave his homeland, where it was in Iraq, and to move to a new land, and to settle in the new land. And Abraham, devoted to God, leaves Babylon, or leaves the area of Iraq, and starts migrating, and comes eventually to the Promised Land. And those 12 sons became 12 tribes, and they formed a nation, and 400 years later, the prince of Egypt, who was born to a Jewish mother, and due to the decree of the Pharaoh that all the boys will be killed, his mother built a little casket and sent him in the Nile being a god of Egypt. This little kid in this little casket was floating around the Nile. The daughter of Pharaoh goes to wash herself in the Nile, which was the god of Egypt, and notices that the god gave her a son. So it's the son of God. He's known as Moses. He grows up, and after being very confused about this whole issue of the, let's call it the Jewish-Egyptian conflict, he is told by God, after he sees the burning bush, to go back to Egypt, speak to Pharaoh, and redeem these people and take them to the Promised Land, the land of milk and honey, which you are in at the moment. Missionaries are against the law in Israel. No one can come to a Jew and say, listen, you have to believe in Jesus Christ, he's the Redeemer. People get kicked out of the country if they say that. This country is a safe haven for Jews. It's here to protect Judaism. And of course, if someone will come in here and try and convert Jews, it's going against the intention of the state to protect Jewish life. Moreover, that after the Inquisition and the Crusades, the Jews are not that willing, from what we see in history, to convert. Even if they were burnt at the stake and whatever they did with the Inquisition, they tried to make these. The reason that he has a green beret is because he's protecting the Green Line. They are situated only on the Green Line, which was the border with Israel and Jordan until 1967. And now we are actually on the slope of the mountain of Moriah, and we're going into the Valley of Death, that Valley of Kidron, the border of Jerusalem on the east side. Everything on the left of us will soon be the Mountain of Olives. You'll see all the graves, you'll see the olive trees. And that happens in the valley that you can see right in front of you over here. Down there, behind the olive trees, there's a flat roof. That is the Crusade Church of the Tomb of Mary. And of course, you can see the triangular roof with the 4 pillars, in front of it, which is the Church of Gethsemane, where we're going to go visit now. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to get off the bus very quickly once we get off the bus, so please cooperate with me.